Have you ever wished you could control time? Just pause a perfect moment, rewind a mistake, or fast forward through the boring stuff. Well, what if I told you about a boy who could do just that? This is the story of Leo and the incredible, yet terrifying, power he found on his wrist. Our story begins with Leo, a pretty ordinary 10-year-old. He wasn't the fastest runner, the best student, or the most popular kid in school. He was just Leo. He spent most of his days feeling like he was always a step behind, wishing for a little extra time to catch up, to think of a witty comeback, or to finish his homework before the bell rang. His biggest rival was a kid named Max, who seemed to excel at everything without even trying, especially at winning the attention of Lily, the girl Leo had a crush on. One rainy afternoon, while exploring his grandfather's dusty old attic, Leo stumbled upon a small wooden box tucked away under a pile of forgotten treasures. Inside, nestled on a velvet cushion, was a watch. It wasn't a shiny new smartwatch, but an old, vintage-looking timepiece with a bronze casing and a worn leather strap. It had strange symbols instead of numbers and a single, intricate dial in the center. Curious, Leo slipped it onto his wrist. It fit perfectly. As he fiddled with the crown, something amazing happened. The world around him froze. A raindrop hung suspended in midair outside the window. Dust motes stopped their dance in the sunbeam, and the ticking of the old grandfather clock downstairs fell silent. Leo was stunned. He turned the crown the other way, and everything lurched back into motion. He had found a watch that could control time. At first, it was the greatest thing ever. Life became his personal video game, that pop quiz he forgot to study for. No problem. He just paused time, sneak a peek at his textbook, and ace the test. An awkward moment when he tripped in the hallway. Rewind. He'd gracefully sidestepped a puddle this time. He used it to become a superstar in pay, pausing time to perfectly line up his shot in basketball, making him look like a prodigy. He even used it to get ahead of Max. When Max was about to tell a great joke to Lily, Leo would pause time, think of an even funnier one, and deliver it first, stealing the spotlight. He was no longer just Leo. He was Leo, the master of time. He was winning, and it felt incredible. But with great power comes, well, you know the saying. Little cracks started to appear in his perfectly controlled world. He'd pause time so often that he'd start to feel disconnected, like a ghost watching the world move on without him. He'd rewind a conversation to say the perfect thing, but the spontaneity, the genuine laughter, was gone. It all felt hollow, rehearsed. The worst part was when he tried to create a perfect moment with Lily, he set up a perfect picnic, paused time to make sure every detail was flawless, but when he unpaused, the conversation felt forced. He knew what she was going to say before she said it, because he'd already rewound and replayed the moment a dozen times. The magic was gone. The real chaos began when he tried to make bigger changes. He accidentally rewound too far once, erasing an entire day. He woke up confused, with a strange sense of déjà vu, having to relive a day where he'd already made all the right moves. Friends would mention conversations he didn't remember having, or rather, conversations he had erased. The timeline was becoming a tangled mess one day. In a fit of frustration trying to fix a series of small blunders, he spun the dial frantically. The world didn't just stop or rewind. It fractured. He saw bizarre echoes of the past and future overlapping. A Roman centurion flickered in his classroom. A futuristic flying car zipped past his window, and his dog was suddenly a puppy again for a split second. Time was breaking. The watch, once a source of infinite power, was now a source of sheer terror. In a panic, Leo ran back to the attic. He found his grandfather's old journal hidden near the box where he'd found the watch. His grandfather's shaky handwriting filled the pages, telling a similar story. He had found the watch as a young man. He wrote about the initial joy, the feeling of being a god, and then the crushing loneliness and the terrifying paradoxes. He wrote, "I tried to control time, but instead it controlled me. I collected perfect moments like butterflies in a jar, only to find they lost their color once captured. The true secret of time, my dear grandson, is not to bend it to your will, but to live within its flow. To cherish the surprises, to learn from the mistakes, and to love the imperfect, fleeting beauty of every single second. Reading those words, Leo finally understood. He looked at the watch on his wrist, the source of all his triumphs and all his terror. He had been so focused on creating a perfect life that he had missed out on actually living it. The real fun wasn't in knowing the outcome, it was in the uncertainty, the spontaneous laughter, the genuine connections. He thought about the joy of a surprise, the lesson learned from a mistake, the warmth of a real, unplanned smile from Lily. He had traded all of that for a cheap imitation. With a deep breath, Leo took off the watch and placed it back in its wooden box. He pushed it deep into the corner of the attic, covering it with old blankets, deciding to let it rest. The next day at school, he was just Leo again. He wasn't the best at everything. He fumbled his words when talking to Lily. He missed a few shots in basketball, and he definitely didn't ace his history quiz. But when he made a joke and his friends laughed, it was a real, genuine laugh. When he struggled with a math problem and finally figured it out, the sense of accomplishment was real. He was no longer a step ahead of time. He was right in sync with it. And for the first time in a long time, he realized that every moment, perfect or not, was a gift. He learned that the true power wasn't in controlling time, but in cherishing it. Because life isn't about having all the time in the world. It's about living the time you have. What do you think? If you had a watch like that, would you be able to resist the temptation? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you next time.